After I did the monument in 1972 in Ricci di Vici, called The Crucifixions of Generations to Come, I tried to use it to educate people. I came to New York, I made a drawing, I had photographs of it and everything like that. But because I used the crucifix, and in Venezuela, they are heavily Catholic, they didn't allow me to use it. All the doors shut. And it wasn't my fault. I was just following the instructions that nature gave me because I found 3 swimming fins, and that's what gave me the idea of creating a crucifix. So after that, every time that I went to Venezuela, I would photograph the problem on the beaches, the garbage here, the garbage there, and And a few years later, I read that Venezuela was drowning, just sinking in garbage. So I went to the Venezuelan consulate here in New York City to tell them the situation and to see if they would sponsor me to go back to Venezuela and educate people, tell them about the problem that we were having. Remember, this was long before people came to realize that there was a problem of garbage and plastic bottles and things like that all over the beaches, and something that I have been doing for a long time now. Of course, the Venezuelan consulate told me to go to the tourist office. I mean, of all places, to go to the tourist office. And yeah, sure, they're gonna give me an opportunity to show that Venezuela is sinking in garbage, being a tourist office. So I went back to Venezuela on my own. I paid for everything. And I went to the National Art Gallery to talk to the director to see if there was a way that I could create a show with garbage to educate people about it, or make a dent at least, to alleviate the problem. Educate it at the very least. I befriended the guards in the gallery. They allowed me to find out what were the schedules of the directors when he came in, because he was hiding from me and doing all these different things. And they were instrumental in allowing me to do the show that I was planning. So I bothered this man because I used to go to the gallery And they would tell me, excuse me, where are you going? You know, Renee, they knew me. So I said, oh, I have an appointment. I got to talk to the director. So they assumed that I had an appointment. They never asked me if I had an appointment or not, because that's Venezuelan ways of doing things. So I insisted, I bothered him until he told me, well, there is a show that has been canceled in 3 weeks. And it's for 2 weeks, the show. He was thinking that it was not worth it for me to go through all this trouble of writing invitations and making sculptures and doing all these different things just to have a show for 2 weeks in Venezuela. Especially when I had to travel back to New York, print the invitations, call the news, all these things that you require for you to have a good show, you know. But he didn't know who he was dealing with, nature's ambassador. I went to the beach and I collected a lot of garbage, about 8 bags, big bags, and I put it in a pickup truck. And since I knew the guards, I came in the day of the show. I came in and they asked me, what are you doing? So I said, you know, I have this show, and I show them the letter that I have permission to do this, and they allowed it. So what I did was, this was the day of the show. So I threw all that garbage in this pristine corridors. You know, it's a very well kept place, and this didn't look like a wing or anything like that where you have exhibition. It's just the corridors. And all of a sudden, they were, you know, alarmed because the guards called up the director, and he showed up ahead of time. He usually was there like around 10 o'clock, and this time he showed up like around 8:30, something like that. And the guard was there. So he asked me, I thought you were going to make a sculpture for the opening, you know, you have to. And I explained to him, no, I told you that I was going to make a sculpture. The only thing that he didn't know about the way I work is that instead of having an opening, I was going to have a closing. When they asked me, what is this? So I said, it's garbage. And one of these critics said to me, he was from Argentina, no, this is not garbage. Garbage, it would be garbage if you left it on the beach. The moment you pick it up and you bring it into a museum, you have given it already a message. Now you have transformed garbage into art.